Yeah, it's a great question. You're right. I think there is too much talk about austerity, to be honest. Obviously, we are in quite a difficult position at the moment, but I also think there's great opportunity out there as well. And for me, the biggest challenge, particularly for British business, is growth. And how do we make sure that we give our people the best opportunity that we possibly can, and we make sure that the country grows, because the country is not going to get out of this situation without growth in business. So I think the biggest challenge is, where do we find that growth? Do we find it through innovation? Do we find it through new markets? And I think there's huge opportunity for us to invest overseas, particularly in the emerging markets. And the other challenge is making sure that we've got the right talent, and that the talent is really ready to work as soon as it comes onto the labour market, and also that we retain the best talent, and we retain it here in the UK. Well, two comments on that. One, I don't think it is a passing phase, and two, I hope it's not a passing phase, because actually I think there's a lot to learn from the crisis. I think there's a lot to learn in terms of transparency. I think there's also a lot to learn in terms of business leaders having personal responsibility and showing personal responsibility as well. So I'm hoping that one of the things that we retain in our corporate memory and our country memory, if you like, is that we remember what can happen when really kind of you lose control of situations, and when people don't accept the responsibility for running their businesses in the way that they should. I think the executive pay debate is a fair debate. I think things did get out of kilter in terms of the way that people were rewarded and the value that they were actually generating in their own companies. So for me, I think people, when people can see that the value is contributed by the leadership of organisations, I don't think they have much problem with executive pay, but it's making that direct connection between the value and the reward that's really important. Yeah, look, I think there are really good stories. Maybe I'm a bit more of an optimist, but I think British business is in pretty good shape. I think business took a lot of difficult decisions really early in the recession, and I think it means that compared to some other countries, our businesses are in good shape. I think our businesses have got good liquidity in them at the moment. I think there is a lack of confidence to spend that liquidity, and as soon as confidence starts to come back in, I think we're well positioned to invest overseas, and to invest in our businesses as well. So the good news for me is, I think you can always find opportunity even in some of the gloomy scenarios. Two big effects really, I guess. One is the way that we deliver our services, and there's many different ways that we can interact with our clients and with our prospective clients, and digitisation gives us a real opportunity to go direct to many more potential clients than we've ever been able to before. And the second thing is knowledge management. If you think about it, PwC, we've got more people, we've got more clients than anybody else, therefore we've got more knowledge. And we've been looking for ways to access and share that knowledge. Now with social networking and with digitisation, I think that gives us the opportunity to do that. There is a lot of data out there at the moment, and data analytics is the big buzz phrase that you're probably hearing as well. I think where it really comes into its own is when you look at something that we call the plus factor. Now this is where you take the data but you apply it to the end game, if you like. And the example that I'd give is the sports shoes. So intelligent sports shoes, really the end game is you want to get fit. Sports shoes with the right equipment in them can tell you how well you're doing and what progress you're making towards that. So that I would call the plus factor. It's how does the data that is available to you become very, very personalised so that it helps you to achieve the goals that you set. Yeah, I think we've seen a massive shift in the business model, because there's much more move away from physical to data, as we talked about earlier, and also to knowledge. As an organisation, PwC, we've always been a service organisation, so means of delivery in a really quick, efficient way, giving people access to the knowledge that we've got, is really important. So even for a business like ours that's always been service-based, this is a big change for us. Needs a lot of investment, needs a lot of clever thinking to make sure we give our clients what they want. But for many other businesses, this is going to be a pretty fundamental change. And those that are able to adapt will survive, and those that won't be able to adapt, I'm afraid, are probably not going to be around for the long run. Yeah, look, all geopolitics, I think, affects business, because what business doesn't like is uncertainty. And all of those areas that you've just talked about give uncertainty. And even if you look at the Scotland debate, I'm aware of some companies that are looking to make investments at the moment. Are they going to invest in Scotland, or would they rather invest in Northern England, for example? And I know that is a really live, topical debate. So I think anything that creates uncertainty is not good for business, and especially for long-term investment. And all of those areas create an element of uncertainty. But then again, you come down to the adaptable companies are able to move and make sure that whatever the geopolitics throws at them, they can be successful. But look, we think it's a fundamental issue and a fundamental debate, and it works at many levels. At its most commercial level, we recruit close on 40% of our workforce is recruited as women. 50% of our workforce is actually women. We put a huge amount of training. We want them to stay and be really successful inside our organisation. We run a lot of women's development programs. We're involved a lot in the diversity discussion and debate. I'm a member of the 30% Club. I'm also a member of something called the Mentoring Foundation, which mentors senior women in many different organisations to help their career to develop even more quickly. So we're right at the heart of the debate. I could literally talk for half an hour on the diversity issue, probably better not. But believe me, our firm regards this as one of the principal challenges and one of the principal areas of competitive advantage for the future as well. It's really kind of you to say that. I mean, all I can say is it's flattering if people do think that. All I can say is that, I think if you're authentic and accessible, then at least people are in a position to make that assessment. So if people think that that is inspirational, that's great, but really all it is authenticity and accessibility, which I think are crucial for a modern leader. Davos is a really interesting experience. In a very, very short space of time, it gives you brilliant access to politicians, regulators, visionaries, future thinkers, as well as other business leaders. So for us, the real benefit is that you're immersed in that for about 4 days, and it gives you a real flavour of what is going on in the world. It also gives you an opportunity to see many, many of your clients all in one space at one time, and many sort of potential clients as well. So for me, it's I guess what I'd call it sort of intensive business education.